Hi, my name is Desiree. I'm the writer and kind of person that takes care of all of the social media for Pray for Irene. Irene is my mom. She was newly diagnosed with leukemia in September of this year. She just had a really bad kind of issue with back pain, and we went into the emergency room. I think I kind of already knew that something was wrong, but we got the positive diagnosis that evening. She underwent quite a few more tests since then, and the diagnosis was confirmed. But this isn't our first journey with cancer. My dad was diagnosed in April 2015 with stage 4 colon cancer. I was his primary caregiver. My mom also helped me as much as she could. It was a tough journey, and I say that on many levels: emotionally, physically, spiritually. The whole journey was just so difficult. My dad was a very, very strong man. He was definitely my Superman, and it was hard to see what cancer did to him. It was hard to watch physically a man of his stature kind of just, fade away. And to watch him and to see all that occurred with the illness and how the illness slowly took over. My dad would ultimately pass away in March of 2015. So it was about 11 months. But he was sick much longer than that. He was sick for nearly 5 years. It was a tough, tough journey. And along that journey, there wasn't a whole lot of people to kind of reach out to. We're a pretty private family to begin with. We didn't ask many family and friends for things. People that probably should have helped us were not kind of around or willing, or I don't know, they just weren't there. And being his primary caregiver, I spent many, many days with him in the hospital. I'd say probably in about a year's amount of time, we spent a third of the time in the hospital. And so there were lots of late nights where I'd sit and watch YouTube or look for blogs. And I always looked for, some story that was somewhat similar to ours, someone who was going through the journey with us, and didn't really find anything. Well, my mom started to get sick the spring of 2016. I just kind of started to slowly watch things occur. And all those red flags start popping up. She would go on vacation with some family in June, and she would get hurt. But my mom, being like my dad, they don't go to the doctor. And so my mom kind of put that off until September this past year, and we would end up in the emergency room where they would give her a positive diagnosis of leukemia. But again, we didn't have many people to kind of lean on. My mom wasn't ready to talk about it. I knew. We let my sister know. Our growers market family kind of became our strength. A lot of them knew, and they kind of were rallying behind us. As the doctor's appointments kind of bled into each other, and one came after another, and everything was confirmed, I just felt like I needed to talk to people, and there was not a whole lot of people to talk to. We had started a foundation for my dad, and a lot of our families become more familiar with it. A lot of them have been active in our fundraising efforts with Love for Blue. We provide scholarships to local high school kids and try and reach back to the cancer community, give back a little bit. We know what it's like to spend holidays in the hospital. We know what it's like to kind of just be, head underwater when it came to treatments and hospitalizations and cancer in general. So we were looking at this foundation that my dad began before his passing as like a way of just, I think, one, occupying our time a bit, two, being something that we could remember my dad with, and three, a way to give back. But going on this new journey, it was different. You know, we had more family that was around, more support. But my mom was not ready to tell people. You know, my dad, you know, within minutes of finding out that he had colon cancer, you know, it went through the channel, text messages, emails, phone calls, everybody knew. My mom didn't want people to know. So it was just really, really rough. And a month ago today, on November 1st, she had to go back to the emergency room, and this time I needed to reach out. I needed some help. November 1st, 2016 was the first time she told our family that something was wrong. And it was just a small handful of people that knew. And that was the day I began our blog. 1 month later, 21 blog posts. You know, it's kind of developed into its own thing, Pray for Irene. We shared this past month quite a bit on the blog. I've not really kind of, I guess, gone into depth as much as I could in some topics. We just weren't ready at the time to share. Or, you know, you're just kind of maneuvering your way, looking for doctors, going through the red tape of insurance, kind of just surviving some days. Some days are tough. And I just kind of felt this time around we were ready to kind of embrace the cancer community again, kind of maybe be a strength for people who are also going through it. In the last couple of years, I've met countless people on Facebook, through our foundation, on our blog, through social media, in person, and I realized that there's a need for, I guess, families like ours to embrace their journey and share their journey. And I guess that's what I'm looking at this Facebook page to do when I started it, the blog, and now our YouTube channel, is just kind of be a place where maybe a caregiver can come to. People can ask questions. You can kind of see what you go through. With my dad, in about the 12 months prior to his death, we spent about a third of the time in the hospital. A big chunk of time was also spent in doctor's appointments, chemotherapy, radiation, countless doctor's appointments. I can't even begin to explain to you how much time we spent seeking treatment, wanting to give him as much time as he possibly could have. It's what he wanted. It's the one thing he asked, that he, my mom, and I could spend as much time as we could together. But along that journey, you know, the long nights where you can't sleep and you're sitting in a hospital room and they give you those crazy chairs that turn into beds that are so uncomfortable, I would sit and watch YouTube videos. I would look for blogs. I would look for people with similar backgrounds, people who were going through the same journeys, people who, you know, maybe had done this before us. But I didn't really find a whole lot. There was not a lot of information made available. So I think it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put it all out there on the internet, to let people in, to show people what's going on. But it's definitely something that my mom and I think needed that first go around. And most of the time we just kind of flew by the seat of our pants. You know, we just kind of did things. We had an amazing medical team behind us that really took care of us. They took our entire family under their wing. And it wasn't just about my dad. You know, his home health care nurse checked in on me every time she came to the house. It wasn't just how is he doing, how is he physically doing, mentally doing, emotionally doing. It's how are you doing as a caregiver? Is there anything that we can do to make it easier for you? And I really attribute that we got through that journey because of those people. Because we didn't reach out to a whole lot of family or friends. It was just difficult. It was, it's one of those things. My dad was my Superman. Like, how do you maneuver through watching this strong man slowly being taken over by cancer? Watching his body slowly fading away. Having to provide him with assistance to walk, to get up, trying to figure out what he can eat that day, how to get him in the vehicle to go to an appointment. Is it time to go to the hospital? Is he okay? Is this normal? All of those things that you just, you kind of learn as you go. I really think that we could have used, maybe some guidance somewhere. But since his passing, I've really taken to Love for Blue as a foundation where, one, we provide scholarships for youth in our area. Two, we give back to our local cancer community, because that was very important to us to give them some of the love that they gave us. But three was to reach out into the cancer community and to assist other families, to show them that even in the worst case scenario, in losing your loved one, that the journey is not all bad. But also to give hope to those people going through this journey, and to tell you that not every journey ends with your loved one passing on. And so with Pray for Irene, it's a way to keep in touch with our family and friends and to let you know what's going on, and for having a good day or a bad day, or it's been a good week, or however it's occurred. But it's also a way to kind of touch that cancer community. I can't 100% say what's in our future, but we have a better outlook of what our future holds, having gone through this journey before. It's a difficult one. It's one that, I think I saw coming. I think there were the signs and the symptoms. The weight loss with my mom. The food doesn't taste right. There's a lot of pain. There's all these other little things that were occurring. Bruising. Lots and lots and lots of sleeping. But when you hear those words, you have cancer. It is leukemia. Or like with my dad, it's colon cancer. It still makes your heart stop. There's still not a way to prepare you for it. And so I just want you to know, like, you're not the only one. If you're a caregiver out there, you're not the only one. You may feel very lonely. There are many, 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 many nights that I have felt extremely lonely. You're not the only one shedding the tears or wondering what's in your future. But I will tell you, it gives you strength. Like, you find out who you are. This journey is so incredibly tough. And it can be so long and so taxing on you. But you find out, like, the true strength. Like, I never realized that, I could get through something like this. I never thought, I was 20-some years old when I started taking care of my dad. You never quite imagine that this is what you're going to do with your life. But I will tell you that you can make it through it and come out the other side stronger. And you realize who exactly is important in your life going through this. You find out the people that are going to stand up for you, the ones who are going to stand next to you, and the ones that are going to walk away. But I just want it to be that kind of person that, if you just found out your spouse or your parent or your child, a friend, a neighbor, a grandparent, whoever has cancer, it's not a death sentence, one. And two, it's not going to be an easy journey. But three, you can make it. So I guess that's more of where I'm going with this, is I want to show you there are good days.